Okay, guys, we're again in Unit 2. We are continuing Part 2 of the lesson. It started on page 13, but now we're on 14. So this guy, we're going to be given some information, and our goal here is to write the function for the given parameters. So again, please make sure you're referring to this to help you with your homework. We are writing a new function. Here's the parent function. We want to take this guy and write it as if it were shifted up 3 units. If you need to refer back to page 13, please do so. But this would simply be x squared plus 3. Whenever you have an up or down, it's plus or minus just at the end of the equation, kind of by itself. So letter B, we have y equals absolute value of x. That's a parent function again. But we need to write it as if it's going down 6. So that would be y equals absolute value of x minus 6. Very similar to A. Letter C, we got a linear guy shifted down 4 units. That would be very similar to letter B. Simple x minus 4. Letter D, we have another quadratic, also known as parabola. This guy is shifting left 2 units. Now left and right, for a parabola parent function, you got to open up parentheses squared. And then in the parentheses, for left 2, that would be x plus 2. Letter E, another quadratic parabola, 2 shifts here, left 1 and up 6. So y equals left would be, well, you see it right back here, x plus 1. And make sure to put your squared in your answer. If you see a squared here, you better see a squared here. And then up 6 would be a plus 6 at the end. Letter F, another absolute value. We go back and forth between all 3, but they all have the same exact rules for shifting. So right 7 would be x minus 7. If you refer back to page 13, again, just a reminder, right 7 would be this guy here, okay? But instead of parentheses, x minus 7, don't use parentheses, you got to use the absolute value, like we're given in the original problem. And then we have down 3, so that's a simple minus 3 at the end. Okay, next up we're going to talk about vertical stretches and compressions. So I already took these notes down to save time on my video, but a stretch is something that it appears to be thinner, but think of it as being pulled up or stretched upwards. And a compression is something that's smushed down. It appears to be wider. So in this, you'll see these guys come up here is when you have a vertical stretch, you'll have a number that's right after the equal sign. We'll call that A. And that's when we have a number where its absolute value of A is greater than 1. So that could be, for example, y equals 5x squared. That could also be a negative, like negative 2x squared. All right, as long as their absolute value of A is greater than 1. And then this guy here for vertical compression, that's where the absolute value of A is less than 1. Typically, you'll see that as a fraction, like right here, 1/2 or 1/4. And they can also be negative as well. So you can see examples of those would be y equals 1/2 x squared, or y equals negative 2/3 x squared. Okay, the absolute value of those A's are less than 1. And again, the trigger for stretch and compression is it's the number that would appear, if there is one, right after the equal sign, and we'll call that A. Okay, so in example 3, we have to write a new function for the given parameters. This is actually very easy. It's easier than it sounds in the sentences. In A, it says write an equation for the function y equals x squared, that's the parent, with a vertical stretch by a factor of 4. So all it's telling you here is that guy is going to be A. So y equals 4x squared. Easy as can be. Letter B, write an equation for the parent function y equals x squared with a vertical compression by a factor of 1/2. Again, that's just going to be the A. That would be here, no matter what, stretch or compression, right after the equal sign. Done. Letter C, again, write an equation for the parent function, y equals absolute value of x with a vertical stretch by a factor of 12. Again, that's going to go right here or right here. So right after the equal sign, just put 12 and then continue with the absolute value of x. Do not put the 12 inside of the absolute value. Just put it by itself, kind of as a coefficient. And then letter D would also be very similar to C, y equals 1/4 times the absolute value of x. Easy stuff. Okay, next up, describe how the two relations are related. So we need to put in words. So again, here's the parent function. How does this relate to this? What does the 2/3 do? So the 2/3 is right after the equal sign, and it is a number less than 1. So we're going to say vertical compression. That's it. It's a vertical compression. And then here, notice where the 5 is, right after the equal sign. So which one is this, stretch or compression? Well, it's a number greater than 1. And actually, here's my example. It's a stretch. So vertical stretch. Please memorize these, by the way. Okay, letter C, we got two things going on. We got this 3 and we got this x minus 1. The 3 is right after the equal sign. That's A, and it's bigger, it's greater than 1. So that's going to be a vertical stretch. You don't need to write vertical. You can just write stretch if you want. And then x minus 1 in parentheses. That's a little bit of mix from, the past stuff we did on page 13. That was a shift right 1. And letter D. Save the toughest for last. We actually have 3 things here. Something that didn't come up in our notes. I want you to circle D, put a big old star next to it. There's actually 3 things going on. See the negative right after the equal sign? Whenever you have that, and unfortunately it didn't come into the notes. We have to edit these notes, these packets. Whenever you have an equal sign, you're going to write, whenever you have right after the equal sign, when A is negative, write reflection. What that would mean is it would be upside down. So that absolute value, instead of normally opening up, when A is a negative, it's going to open down. A is 3/4. That is a number less than 1. So that is going to be a vertical compression. And finally, a minus 1. That's a minus K at the end. That's a down 1. All right, guys, that's the end of the notes. Please make sure you feel free to fill into packets, take screenshots, whatever works best for you.